Hello and welcome. We're going to try and do this again. Today we're trying with the phone, and today we are reviewing a second look, I looked through it yesterday, of Mighty Protectors, the superhero role-playing game from Monkey House Games, Villains and Vigilantes 3.0 edition. So how is this different than the previous two Villains and Vigilantes, knowing how much I love Villains and Vigilantes 2nd edition? Well, it's sort of a combination of random and point value, which on the surface sounds good. You roll everything random, and then you get some points to sort of, finagle things. Like maybe you roll flame powers, and one of the possible things to add to flame powers, of course, is flight. But you didn't roll flight, but you have some points within there to sort of finagle it by some flight, or whatever. On the surface, that sounds like a good idea. Actual practice, well, let's just say I've read through this twice and I'm still confused on how to make a character. And here should be the first. Now, A+, the art. Jeff D's amazing art. Even some of his crappy stuff is amazing. We've got a lot of the classic 80s stuff by Jeff D, 2017. We've got old Jeff D stuff in here. So if you're a fan of Jeff D's art, you're going to love this. If you're just a fan of Villains and Vigilantes, apparently this was made in 2017, so it's pretty old. They've probably updated it since then, but this is the only one I could find. And you're a completionist. But here's the first thing that should have convinced me that maybe this has got an issue. Table of contents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the Friends page. Okay, original Villains and Vigilantes, the table of contents was 1 page and included this. All right, so here's some classic Jeff D art. All right, so how do I make a character? There are 2 types of character. Player characters are the alter egos of the player. Non-player characters are controlled by the GM and include everyone else in the game besides the player. Each player creates their own character while the GM creates NPCs. All characters have basic characteristics and abilities, which are both purchased with character points. The number of character points received depends on their power level. Now, we know any system that uses power level and number of character points is going to have a way to be broken, and this one's no difference because it does have advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so let's make a character. How do I roll stats? Well, let's determine the power level. Okay, how do I determine the power level? Well, this thing's got a lot of great random tables. So another A+. Look at this. I can roll my birthplace randomly. I'm gonna pick, local. I'm a California native. My character's from California. Then I could roll known regions, secret lost regions. If I'm from a different time period. If I'm from an alien world, but I'm going boring, and I'm just going to say I'm a guy from California or a girl from California. Then I can roll my species too. Human, tech, construct. Okay, so this is pretty cool, I guess. I'm going to be a human. Again, just keep it normal. Okay, culture. I'm from Earth. Now. My gender, I'm gonna make a me. So even though it has a table in here for rolling gender for random characters and for being politically correct, male, human male. Okay, what is the power level of my campaign? Normal, low, standard, or high. So I don't know the difference between normal and low is. Normal is, I guess, no superpowers. Low is low-powered heroes, I guess, like street level Batman. And then standard and high. Okay, so let's just do 50 points. The minimum points is 3 and the maximum is 15. So the maximum I can spend on anything is 15. Let's do my stats first. Okay, so we have a table to roll which stat you pick first, and then you have an order in which you can do the stats. So basically, this is a very weird way to do point buy. The first thing I would change is either just have a straight array. All stats start at 10, and then you can roll a random dice, or all stats start at 8/10, and you have a certain amount of points to raise them, but you cannot lower them below 8. without taking a weakness. So that's the first thing I'd change. This makes no sense. Why overcomplicate? All right, so I've got my stats. I'm playing a low power, so I'm gonna have a 16, 14, a 12, a 10, and an 8. Is this working? Please tell me this is working. Whatever. Okay. And from the 16, 12, 10, and 8, I can determine my things. So since we've got us right here, so okay, here's everything I need for my things and my hit points and my healing rates and all the secondary stuff. All right, weight and mass. I guess this is important. My background. What is my background? I don't know. Do I see myself on here? I don't see teacher, education on here. Oh, I could do education. Okay. Does my background give me anything? Maybe some skills. What's my motivation? I'm a hero. I don't need a motivation. What's my origin type? I can roll that randomly too. Let's roll that I am a science accident. Once again, Fantastic Four. Stick with them something. All right. Then I can roll offensive abilities, defensive abilities, miscellaneous abilities, and weaknesses. Now, is there a table to tell me randomly which table I'm going to choose on? Randomly select 2 offensive abilities, 2 defensive abilities, and 2 miscellaneous abilities by rolling twice on each of the following tables. Some abilities appear on more than one table if they offer a combination of offensive and defensive and other abilities. Reroll if the same ability is rolled more than once. Well, what if I want to have the power twice, a more powerful version? That was a thing in old V&V. If I rolled flame power twice, I could have a much more powerful, versatile version of flame power. Okay, so this one's saying pick 2 from, roll or pick 2 from here, roll or pick 2 from here, roll or pick 2 from here. Each character must also select 2 random weaknesses. Old V&V had a thing where you could drop a weakness by losing a power. So I'm starting with 2, 4, 6 powers and 2 weaknesses. That seems pretty ridiculous. In the old days, you would only have like 1 power or sometimes 2 powers. Another person would have 6 powers, but 2, 4, 6 powers. Hopefully there's a rule in here that says if I can drop weaknesses to lose a power. A character may take a maximum of negative 20 CPs and weaknesses. Weaknesses added to certain special abilities and modifiers don't count towards that limit. So yes, there is an option to keep drop weaknesses to reduce the amount of power. So if you don't like your weaknesses, and some of the weaknesses can be pretty deadly. I mean, like getting a reduced strength or a reduced agility or whatever in a game that's built around stats. Then we have the whatever this is, caps. All right, so ability CP costs. Some ability listings, such as chemical abilities, are actually groups containing multiple sub-abilities. This is indoctrinated by a letter code. For example, A, chemical blast, B, chemical body. Sub-abilities are treated as entirely separate abilities for purpose of ability caps and may be modified independently. You may put an ability cap into a single sub-ability or split them among multiple sub-abilities. What does that mean? Unfortunately, there's no example. Example, Nina's character rolls a standard power level hero who's local, human, 25 years old, a photographer and journalist, a thrill seeker who got her abilities as a result of some kind of science project. For abilities, she rolls Devitalization Ray, Heightened Attack, Armored, Shield, Grapnel, and Energy. Her random weaknesses are Poverty and Reduced Strength. Nina begins to form a concept. Her character was involved in a scientific investigation into the primitive superstition that photography steals souls. She keeps Devitalization Ray, Heightened Attack, Armor, and Energy, receiving 20 CPs in each, and plans to make them all gear, and also drops both weaknesses. So I guess by taking gear, you get more points. So yeah, champions. and which means broken. I mean, people love champions, but, you know, if you know how to min-max the fuck out of champions, you can take a 100-point character and turn them into things. So what I'm seeing is you roll random powers, and then you have a certain amount of points to add or subtract or change the power. So let's see an example of a power. Okay, so here we go. Armor. The continual ability provides protection against damage from and improves the character's saves against various damage types. Power cost is 0 per round. The armor protection provided against different damages may vary. So let's say I've got 50 C point, right? We're doing low. So how many points do I have to finagle with my power if we're doing low again here? Yeah, 3 through 13, right? So I guess the most I can spend is 13 points. So if I want to spend 13 points on my armor, I would get a total, and have no other powers. I'd get a total armor of 8. I'd have kinetic, energy, bio, and entropy armor. And I suppose I could, what if I choose to not have all of those? And then, of course, I could have a modifier to raise or lower the cost. Yeah. Villains Vigilantes 2nd edition was perfect. I like that there's more abilities in here. I like that you have more control, but it seems to be an overly complicated way to do it. I like the idea that you roll random powers and then you have a certain amount of points to personalize that power, so no two people with armor are the same. Maybe armor person 1 wants tech armor. Armor person 2 wants biological armor. Armor person 1 wants his armor to provide him with life support. Armor person 2 wants his armor to be made of hot lava, you know, but not protect him from cold. I don't know. Good ideas. But once you get into that whole idea of min-maxing points, I can take minus 20 CPs by taking it this and this and this and this, you know, it just leads to just nah. And I mean, original V&V was like this thick. This thing is just huge, and there's rules for building characters and building cars and what you can and cannot, and then of course we have the area effect, armor piercing. We can't, you know, the ways to get extra and lose CPs. It's champions. It's GURPS supers. It's every point-based system ever, but it adds the unique thing of, well, you can roll randomly. And I think there's an example character. I saw one. I mean, here's some classic Jeff D art. There's one from the original game. There's one from the original game. All right, so here's an example character. So she has light control, laser, PR 1 per use, 2d8 energy damage, called shot, minus 6 to dazzle unless target makes an endurance save. Then she has flash that she's bought, glare that she's bought, and glow that she's bought. She also has adaption, but only versus affliction, low pleasure, and low temp. And she has a flight, but she bought as gear. And you can see her different flight speeds here. And she has a phobia against plants and plant abilities. Really? You have you're afraid of plants? You're never going to leave your house. There's grass outside. Yeah, so now they do have a complete world in here with examples, and they do have the superhero licensing, acting the part superhero code stuff that was in the original game. That's all kind of cool. They've got some examples, you know, they've got things. I would have liked to see the Crusaders and the Crushers make their way into this. There's pictures of them, and there's a little comic of them, but yeah, no write-ups for the Crusaders. Now, I do know that there are companies still making stuff. Is that a girl with a mustache? You know, for Villains of Vigilantes 2nd edition and Villains of Vigilantes, the edition that Monkey House Games came out with. I don't know how much stuff is being made for this version. I could see the attraction. If you are somebody who wants to have complete control and be able to, you know, if you like champions and if you like GURPS and if you like crunch mutants and masterminds, the ability to just, you know, crunch your character and take min maxes and point by, you know, that's something I never liked, and I've said why, because I never understood it. You know, just simply, bam, I have flight, bam, here's the formula, or how fast I can fly, bam, done. That I understood, and I rolled it randomly, and there was none of this little finagling. I kind of like the idea of, you know, having a few little points to tweak your powers, you know, but it just sort of ends up being champions. There's probably a better way to do it. I don't know what it is. Am I glad I bought this? I mean, I'm going to ignore, you know, if I ran it for just to be the current version of V&V, there's definitely stuff I'd keep, and there's definitely stuff I'd drop. I don't see any reason to you know, I just give people, like, for starting stats, I just give you a standard array, like straight 10s, and you get a certain amount of points to raise them. And then maybe your background gives you another few extra skills or whatever. Roll randomly, and then once you roll randomly, you can choose to drop. I wouldn't give you straight 6, and I'd probably, you know, say, like, roll 1, and then pick 2 that fit the 1, or something like that, or I don't know how I'd do it. For villains, you know, I would just, like, I'd come up with a table like 1, 2, 3, you know, and just roll randomly and ignore the points, and then just say, blah, there's a villain. But for players, I'd probably give them more control over which tables they could roll on. If they wanted to have the 6 powers, or if they, you know, 6 powers seems a lot. I mean, and can end up with some really weird random stuff. But you do have the option to, of course, drop powers by losing the weaknesses, which, you know, most people are going to do. Probably, I would assume. I don't know. I'm not impressed. Considering how much I love 2nd edition, I obviously had a very, very high bar, and I'd heard a lot about this, and I'd heard that they had done sort of both random and points, and it was explained to me the way I thought, but now it just looks like, it's champions. Yeah, you got a power, you can use creation points to, you know, min-max the power. Here's some advantages and disadvantages. You can click on the power to melt for more creation points. You can then use those creation points to increase or decrease another power. And then next thing you know, your low-powered character is knocking out the Superman level stuff. But it's a 20-point character. So unless there's actually core built-in disadvantages to actually taking the disadvantages, they just sort of become pointless. Oh, I can use it 3 times a day. Oh, I've only got 20 charges. That's not really a weakness. I don't know. I'm disappointed. I like the ideas. I love seeing the art. I love that it's V&V. I would definitely use it for the core of something. But if I'm going to run random powers, I would just go Heroes Unlimited, which has, as I've said multiply, some of the best powers descriptions. And if I'm going to run point-based supers, I would go Champions or Savage Worlds or GURPS or Mutants and Masterminds. A hybrid of both in theory works, but so far from reading Mighty Protectors, it just feels like it's more of the same, and you just added randomness to capture the original feel of V&V. V&V was fine. It was perfect. That's why I rated it as the second best superhero or the best superhero role-playing game ever. And, the way V&V was written was you could have Batman-level characters and Superman-level characters in the same world, and they would both feel... Look how complicated the character sheet is. like they matter. Look, there's the Crushers. Yay, there's Mocker, there's Bull, there's Shrew, there's Mercury Mercenary, there's Fist, there's Temper, there's Mace, and then there's that other guy they added for the short-lived comic book. Anybody remember the comic book? Yeah. I mean, great random tables. So A+ for the random tables. I like the fact that we have a complete world and an example adventure. So you have a pre-built world. You have example of play, so it shows you how everything. Lots of great tables. That is just nice. Great tables for rolling up random characters. But the point-based system and everything else just sort of takes away from what was a great... I don't know. In the end, you have to play it. I mean, it's hard to review any of these things until you play them. You know, I mean, I reviewed G-Core, and I was like, but I haven't played it. And maybe by playing it, I'll be like, whoa! This, I'm like, oh. But I could play it and go, whoa! So just initial look, disappointed. There's stuff in it I absolutely appreciate and love, and then there's just the normal, this is just Champions. Again, stop trying to recreate Champions. Only, champions can be Champions. There are better point-based systems. If I wanted a point-based system, this wasn't what I would go to. So, yeah. I'm going to give it a B-, because, I just had higher expectations. And there's good ideas, but just, nah. Anyways, if you think I'm correct, let me know. If you think I need to give it another chance, let me know. If you never want to see me review this ever again, let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help me hit 1,000 subs by August 4th, and we'll do something crazy. Until then, every minute, every hour, they'll be shaken by the strength and mighty power of the Indestructibles. I don't know what that means.